the Irish people have been lied, and we, again, nothing new there. I don't know what's new there, because for the last years and years and years we've been lied to about things. And obviously it came out today. RT put it out the other day. Actually, RT put it out, and a lot of other mainstream media, saying that the vaccine, the second dose of the COVID Pfizer or whatever vaccine, is only 3 months effective. So that probably means that you basically need to boost the dose every 3 months. Most likely, that's what they're aiming. That's what I'm assuming after, because it says it's only 3 months effective. Which, let's be fair, if it is effective, again, it's not being at the, again, I shouldn't even have to clarify about anti-vax or anything. That's asking the genuine question. The media have put it there and said, there you are. You were asking about effectiveness and things like that. And again, we were told it was 90 something effective. Then we were told, we won't have to get any other. And then the goalposts so quickly moved. Again, that's what science is nowadays. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Again, science is something that you can't change. It's something that you can't change. We should know the facts from the start. And again, they keep changing. This is the thing. Science doesn't change. Things evolve, of course. But it's nonsense. Let's be honest. It's total nonsense, the science that they're coming up with. Like, it's honestly baby science, to be totally honest. It doesn't make any sense. So they're saying it's 3 months effective. So basically we need boosters now. And before that there was not a word of a third shot. Now they're talking about third shot. It's in the mainstream media. Leo said everybody will have to get it. It doesn't make any sense, because before that they said 2 is enough. Again, did they work it out in their heads, or what? Did they just go on a whiff and decide? Because again, there's money to be made in this, and that's what they like too. They like the money. They like to hold cold hard-earned money in the back. Cold hard-earned money. May I use that word lightly? The money that they basically scamming off us to pay to the pharmaceutical companies. In other words, because we have to pay, it's not free. People need to get that in their head. It's not free. The taxpayer has to fund it. So Big Pharma are very, very delighted. They're not going to say no. And again, they're washing things out. Again, we have to be honest with ourselves. And they're saying about this new COVID wave and things like that. And again, it's the terror how to bring it in. It's the terror how this COVID wave just apparently turned up out of nowhere. And it's finally here for Christmas, and an effort to talk about Christmas restrictions isn't that very good. It's very comical that, and again, the conspiracy theory 2.0, but it's very comical that they turned up now when the government are looking for excuse. They're literally looking for excuses. People are so much against lockdowns and things like that, and they're looking just for excuse now to lock us down. They really are looking just for excuse, and that's probably why they brought in this random variant. That has probably nothing. Like, again, what's the evidence? That it's going to kill people and that. We were told that people would be dropping dead in the streets, the same in China, beginning the COVID. I never seen anybody dropping dead in the streets. But again, that's other things. But again, moving on from conspiracy theory, modern day conspiracy theory last year, we were told we were just not well in the head when we mentioned this about mandatory vaccines. And again, in democracy, the most important thing is, in the republic or anything, the most important thing is choice. You have the choice. Unfortunately, there's the choice to abortion here. You can have an abortion and things like that, which is obviously something. Let's be fair. That's just murder. Let's be fair. But it's important that we had to decide to allow it into the constitution, into this country. But that's on a different topic. But again, this is a different thing. Taking a needle or into your arm. Again, you're entitled to choose. Of course, nobody can force you. Like, again, you are being forced. You've been really just been forced from not going allowing to this place and that place. You can't enjoy life unless you do it. In other words, and that's basically coercing people and enforcing people. We have to make it straight. It's just kind of a nice way of doing it. But again, Luke O'Neill was on News Talk, and Luke O'Neill's not well in the head, to be totally honest with you. He's just nothing Professor 2.0. Like, honest to God, he could walk in Hollywood. But he seems to get great joy, and I said this in the comment section of News Talk. He seems to get great joy in talking about about vaccines and about more vaccines coming in the future to vaccinate people and things. He seems to get great joy in it. You think he would be saying, very serious, very determined that people be kept well, but he seems to get great joy out of it. Like, he seems to be laughing away to himself, getting great joy out of it. Like, again, I never seen a name, I don't even know what he would call him. I don't know who elected him. I don't remember elected him on the ballot paper, but sure, look at, that's modern day Ireland. You don't elect them, they're just there. And that's what politicians to be soon. We won't, in 2024, waiting you see, because there'll be far too much opposition, people going for election. They won't probably have the election, they'll probably just suspend the elections, because that's where we're going next. But on that topic, I keep getting interrupted. But he was basically set up with mandatory vaccines, and again, modern day Republic of Ireland. But again, this is the thing. Austria has done it, and again, we can see that they are doing it, and the mainstream media here were like, we should make the vaccines mandatory in X, Y, and Z. But again, they need to understand that people have choice. If that was abortion, the media fucking go haywire. Let's be honest. If I said, at the abortion thing so length. They'll have an hour to go up in the morning about it, saying how dare he. But again, I'm entitled to my opinion. As a citizen of Ireland, I'm entitled to my opinion. And to have my opinions aired. As simple as that. Even though a vast majority of people might disagree with it, I'm still entitled to my opinion as a taxpaying citizen. I'm sure you would agree. Because you're entitled. At the end of the day, it's your opinion. Nobody can change it. Really, you can't be forced. There's things in life, obviously, that are, plain and simple. That, if you break the law, like take example, if you murder somebody or anything like that, it'd be different in self-defense or something like that. But if you murder somebody cold blood, that's defenseless or something like that, that's just clear cut case that, that's pure evil, and you deserve to go to prison. There's things like that are very bog standard that you would understand, and that that's totally acceptable to put someone in prison for life for cold brutal murder. But again, Luke O'Neill did say about mandatory vaccines and that he hoped that they didn't. And the World Health Organization, the WHO, basically the Chinese party, the second Chinese party, said about mandatory vaccines and said it'd be the last option, that we would have to force people. But again, the reason why they're thinking about these is because again, the lunatics in these places, and would you trust them? To be totally honest, would you trust the World Health Organization? Would you trust Luke O'Neill? Would you trust the Irish government? Because again, time and time again over the history, I have to look back into the Irish history, that the government are very untrustworthy in this country, and I wouldn't trust them with a 10 metre pole. I wouldn't put them near me. But they're untrustworthy, and that's as simple as that. But again, we have been lied to, particularly about that. You take OTB, question Leo and bringing Micheál Martin into the studio and like, how dare you say to the Irish people to take 2 vaccines, and then you're coming along saying a 3rd vaccine. And not a peep, not a whisper. The wind's very quiet. Like literally not a peep. And I know the journalists keep saying that they go by the code of conduct. The Irish journalist code of conduct, or whatever the fuck they call it. But again, as a journalist, you don't go by a code of conduct. There's some things maybe that are sensitive matters, and that's understandable. There's some sensitive things that you cover. That's understandable. You have to have compassion. But, your job is basically to hold people to account. Whatever way you do it, that's the way you do it. If you have to literally shout at them to get the answer out of them, because you're representing, you're the people's voice. In other words, the media are supposed to be the people's voice, but again, they're absolutely just the government's voice at this stage. They're just pro-government. Anything the government said, they just roll with it. They don't question it. Like, I haven't seen any mainstream article, OT or anything question, but we all know OT are just fucking haywire. And the same with News Talk, they're all haywire and now. Like literally haywire 2.0. You take the word question again, they won't question anything. They just keep going with the narrative and keep spinning the yarn, causing more division in society, trying to divide people. And that's what the media are out to do in this country. They're just purely out to just divide everybody out, into like literally starting a civil war. That's what literally they're out to do. Because they might just destroy the country from in itself than from outside. But again, you understand that such things as conspiracy theories seem to be becoming very true, to be totally honest with you. Because I was called as conspiracy theory for talking about COVID passes, and they're here now. They're talking about extending them to other places. And it's funny how this virus just came along all of a sudden, this new COVID wave. It's funny how it's coming along. It's working to Neffet's favour. But when you see Neffet will be coming along tomorrow and saying lockdown, level 5 lockdown, everybody's at home, everything like that. Because again, these lunatics no boundaries. They really know no boundaries, and I don't think they have any compassion at all, because it's actually causing more harm. And I'd say this straight, and I know YouTube might have a fit about it, but it says straight, there's more harm being caused from businesses, people losing their jobs and things like that, and financial harm and physical harm and stress, mental stress of lockdowns, and again, that's causing more people to die from strokes, heart attacks and other diseases, worrying themselves to death, worrying themselves at night to death, and putting themselves in an early grave. And that's why, too. And we just can't allow it. We simply can't allow it. So I said to people, and thankfully there was a protest today in Dublin. Hopefully maybe it wackled the establishment a bit. Hopefully it did anyway. But yeah, that's all I have to say. So take care.